When the students are presenting to the audience, each professional will have an opportunity to present an aspect of the care plan pertinent to their future professional role.
This is Bob and his story. Right. Bob is a 47-year-old gentleman who's a patient in the care of forensic mental health services at the moment. He's currently living alone in a council accommodation under section 3741 of a conditional discharge. Bob has had a 20-year history of mental illness. And at present has had 6 admissions into hospital, been originally diagnosed with bipolar, and over the period of that 20 years that's now been changed to schizoaffective disorder. His last admission in 2006, Bob suffered a serious relapse and was alleged to have actually seriously attacked and injured his mother, who was actually taken into intensive care herself. And Bob attempted to overdose, realising what he'd actually had done. He was taken into care of A&E at first, then taken to a psychiatric intensive care unit, and then went on to a low secure unit where he stayed, and there the forensics team took over his care and then followed him out into release into the community gradually. Bob has admitted to having problems with alcohol abuse and gambling addictions, along with a history of non-compliance with his medication, and all of these things he felt were triggers and signs that he thought he was ill, and have added to the severity of his illness. And again, he believes that those were elements that made him aggressive or argumentative, and especially the relationship with his mum. They're seen as being sort of quite at each other. She can be slightly overpowering and too caring, and he feels sort of, I don't know, mollycoddled, for a want of a better word, and was kind of looking for his independence, but not knowing how to actually go about doing that. As Bob's insight to his illness has got better, his non-compliance has changed. He's aware that his medication helps. He knows he needs to take it, and that it helps him stay well. He's given up the alcohol as soon as he sort of got over the incident with his mum. That stopped. He hasn't had a drink in the last 6 years. The gambling's gone from a few £1,000s at the bookies to a couple of quid every now and again. He's engaging really well with his CPN. His attitude and engagement and response to his treatment has been fantastic, and he knows that it's a benefit to him. Presently, his medication is on, you'll have to excuse me if I get this wrong, levothyroxine for his hypothyroidism, which has apparently been attributed to he was on a high dose of lithium, which he's not on anymore, because they've said that it's just a real bad response to it. So they've changed that. He's on fluoxetine, which is an antidepressant, and aripiprazole, which is an antipsychotic.
Okay, I'm just going to talk through the different people that are involved in the care of Bob. So the main person who's Bob's closest contact is his CPN, and they regularly see him. They can see him once a week, but as he's been getting better, they're hoping to stay that down now to once a fortnight. They're definitely like the key worker involved in his care, and as it says, they just help maintain his insight into his illness and that he's taking his medications. Social worker as well, they're heavily involved with him. They see him once a fortnight, and they're involved in helping arrange his living arrangement that he's got now. Support worker, they come and see him 2 or 3 times a week. He goes to like community projects. There's like a day centre that we go to, and he's got to meet quite a few people. Psychiatrist sees them in the outpatient clinic, and has got regular contacts with them just to make sure that he's doing okay. And then he doesn't see the occupational therapist anymore, but they were just there to help him and got out of the hospital, just get back into the community so they can live okay at home. You know, that's it. That's
So I'd just like to talk to you about the three major areas we feel that are important to Bob's care. And Bob's a hugely active man, so his social activity is what we feel is one of the most important things. He likes to have a very, very active day. His day is completely full, morning, noon and night, Monday to Friday, with visiting the community centre, which he goes to. He cooks there, he plays pool there, he does photography there. He's involved in at least 3 gardening projects that we're aware of. He's become quite highly involved with one of the particular projects, to the point where he's been described as their right-hand man. He visits a friend, did he say once a week maybe? In one of the units he was previously on, to check he's okay, keep him company, make him feel good. He just does so much. He's very, very active, and then over the weekends he's also taking care of his mother, who's on her own at the moment. So he's very, very busy, and that's a really large part of his recovery, to keep him sort of away from the things that he feels triggers his illness, his disorder, what might make him relapse. That's how he keeps away from that. Second thing I'd like to talk about is the HCR20 form. This is an essential tool that is used in forensic psychiatry. Every patient has one. This is a form or a tool or a framework which we use to prevent a relapse or prevent reoffending in forensic patients, and it identifies the risks of a relapse or reoffending. It identifies preventative factors, and it also sets out a framework of what Bob can do if he's starting to feel not quite so well in himself. He's been told, because of the severity of the offence he previously committed, if he starts to feel at all unwell, just walk into the nearest hospital and people will take care of him. Specifically, Bob's risk factors include, in his own mind and in the mind of his CPN, feeling low, which could result in him taking to alcohol; gambling, which may result in him taking to alcohol, and by that I mean serious gambling, so thousands rather than a couple of pounds every now and again. Being alone, so not being busy, watching horror movies, and for that reason he doesn't have a TV, and any increased stress or maybe nagging from his overbearing, as we see, mother. But he doesn't see his mother in that way, per se, but his CPN feels that she can nag quite a lot, and that can be a source of stress. So that's really important for sort of looking after Bob and taking care of him. And the third most important point, as we've already said, is the CPN involved in Bob's care. It's a really essential source of support for Bob. He talks to him, takes him out to watch sports games, plays football with him, takes him to play golf, goes for a coffee. It's almost like he's become such a good friend because they've known each other for so long and sort of knows the ins and outs of Bob's life, as it were.
I'm going to talk about the stigma and barriers Bob comes across. Since leaving the hospital, Bob reports that he's found his readjustment into society quite comfortable. But when you talk to him, friends from his past life have stopped speaking to him. I think he's got one friend who he sees from his past. And when you talk to him further, all the activities he used to do before he was ill were work, like he used to work, he used to garden, he used to watch TV. He doesn't do that anymore because he sees them as a risk. It's sort of self-imposed barriers. He sees that he's got so much guilt about, he has so much self-blame about his illness being his fault, that he's sort of taken any kind of risk factor away, and it's sort of very self-blaming. So instead of managing them, he's stopped doing it completely. So he does lots of activities via the mental health services. He won't initiate anything himself because of his fear of, it's sort of like protecting himself from his illness.
Sorry. Let's vote then.
So we found communication within the agency is really effective for a few reasons. So we've got the HCR20, which is a really comprehensive guide to Bob, really, which is a really key tool, as George was saying. Within the forensic team, all their multidisciplinary members are working within such close proximity within the unit that makes communication really effective and really easy for them. And he has, Bob's got really good communication and really good support from all the members of the team as well. So he knows when his regular visits are, and he does have contact numbers and access to hospital for out of hours in case that he needs it.
We were looking at well, sticking to take the approach of like the biopsychosocial model when we're considering this case. So we're also looking for like gaps in care that we thought we might find within these three areas, which I think you looked at that.
So I mean, as it is, his programme seems to be really comprehensive, and he seems to be getting along really well with it. However, we had a thought about a potential gap, which would be maybe the introduction of cognitive behavioural therapy would be good for him, because obviously he's got lots of risk factors for depression, low self-esteem, small social network, the deteriorating health of his parents, and his massive guilt that he's got, that he thinks obviously towards the act that he did towards his mum, and also because he blames himself for his mum then developing mental health problems as well. And we wondered whether maybe Bob would benefit from CBT to see himself in a different light, and to improve his mood and his coping strategies for when his elderly parents deteriorate further. His dad's in a nursing home at the moment.
So just briefly to discuss about some of the policies or legislation that might be affecting Bob at the moment. Previously, the Section 3741 was mentioned. This is part of the Mental Health Act, where Section 37 is a treatment order. So he may, if necessary, he can be treated against his will. And Section 41 allows for observation and surveillance by the Home Office and places certain restrictions on him. The particular restriction that Bob is facing is not being allowed to stay in the same home as his mum, partly because of the stress that it may put him under with her nagging, partly because it was his mother who was the subject of his previous psychosis. And at any time, he was granted a conditional discharge from care, which means at any time if he reoffends, he can be taken straight back either into custody or into mental health secure care. And we've already talked in quite a lot of detail about the HCR20, so you should all know everything about that. So, in summary, we feel that Bob is coping very well in the community and he's thriving under the care he's receiving. And the team's quite happy with his, well, very happy with his progress. They say he's a pleasure to work with. But we share concerns with the team about his mood and the fact that he's quite socially isolated. He doesn't like to have friends per se. He likes to have acquaintances and keep them at arm's length, just to avoid social situations like drinking, because he's so frightened of having a relapse now. So that, but it is something he'd like to work on in the future. So it's something that the team is thinking about. And through our concerns, we have identified a possible gap in his care, which Bob did not consider, and the team haven't actually considered. So we're doing quite well there.
Oh yeah, just a little word on how our team work together. We work really well as a group. We overcome problems by working together. For example, we were given the wrong address at the beginning, but we stayed calm and focused. That.
And got there eventually.
Yeah, and I think definitely by sharing different expertise and experience really helped. Obviously, the medical students knew more about the medicines and specific acts, and we knew more about the sort of social aspects of it. But I think we did all follow the same sort of biopsychosocial model, so I was quite impressed by that. Thank you very much.